Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. October 17th, we're at the Clinton High School Library for the Clinton School Committee meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved,
bills?
Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can we get a motion to approve the minutes of September 26th meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second, Mr. Chairman.
Made and seconded. Any comments or? No? Another excellent job by Mary.
She's so good.
All in favor of approving the minutes? It's unanimous. We have a student rep this
We
evening.
do have a student rep.
Welcome.
The homecoming dance was held at CHS on Saturday, October 15th. 208 students bought tickets and the dance was very successful. The Student Council held their first blood drive of the year on Friday, October 14th. 66 units of blood were collected and 32 members of the community showed up to donate. The next drive will be held on December 19th. Students in grades 9, 10, and 11 will be taking the PSAT on Wednesday, October 19th. The test will be held during the school day here at CHS, and the SATs will be offered to students on Saturday, November 5th. Nate Ebner will be speaking at an assembly here at CHS tomorrow, October 18th. He's a member of the New England Patriots and competed in the Rio Summer Olympics this past summer. 14 student ambassadors from nearby schools will also be in attendance, and the event is sponsored by Leominster Credit Union, who will also have representatives in attendance, all thanks to Oscar O'Connor. And Mr. Hastings received an email after the Friday night football game from a parent of the Air Shirley band member, and it reads, "Hello, Mr. Hastings. I am a parent of the Air Shirley Marching Band member, and I wanted to tell you what a great bunch of students you have on your marching band. They were such welcoming hosts and hostesses last night during the football game. My trumpet player had nothing but good things to say about how nice your small but very memorable bunch of ladies and gentlemen you have. She also mentioned your team bought them food, and it was very well appreciated. This was her first away game, and boy, you all set the bar very high. I am so impressed and wish all other schools had such outstanding and mature attitudes. Air Shirley will pay it forward. Thank you."
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was a great letter.
Yes.
It was very nice to hear.
Thanks, Sam.
PTA, so do we have a PTA?
I'm just a member, I know what's going on, but I'm not on the board anymore, it's up to you.
If you want to speak for the PTA, I'm happy to have you.
I'm fine with it if you're okay with it.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you need
We
clearance?
just had some stuff coming up, so I just thought, I don't wanna. So, this Saturday is our big race day. We have our Ghost and Goblins Run, it's the third year. Activities start at 10 a.m. At Central Park, and then it runs through to the start of the fun run at 2, and then the actual race starts at 3.
That wasn't this past weekend?
No,
What was
There
all the
was a
stuff?
race, it was a different one.
there was
Oh,
the
different race.
probation.
Oh, okay.
The probation department does a race, they did a race on
Okay.
Saturday. Yeah, so, and then their next meeting, or our next meeting is Thursday, November 17th in the CMS library, at 6:30, and there'll be no December meeting, just so you know.
All
And
right.
where is it, middle or elementary?
Middle.
Gotcha.
Yep,
I'm sorry, when's that meeting?
Thursday, November 17th.
6:30 CMS.
Yep, all are welcome.
Do you want to stay up for?
Yeah. So our next CPAC meeting is November 2nd. We're hoping to have a parent come. I haven't gotten confirmation yet, but she is one of our parents, and she has an incredible organizational skill to organize for an IEP meeting. And we want her to come to the meeting and show other parents how to get organized for their IEP meeting. And hopefully we can get some pointers, so if parents come to us, you know, later on in the year when we are having the IEP meetings frequently, we
Mhm.
can then pass on that wonderful information that she has. She has this amazing binder.
That's great.
You should see it. It's just,
Fantastic.
it's absolutely amazing. And so we're hoping that it'll work out for her. So we're hoping for November, but if it doesn't work for her, we're gonna try either December or January. But we're hoping for November, so we can get it out there and people can take a look at it. And then if there's any questions or anything, we have a while before we're actually getting into IEP meetings. And so our meeting for November is the first Wednesday, it's November 2nd, and that we meet at the CES library at 6:30, and all are welcome. And we just made a Facebook page, and we're hoping to encourage people to join us. So if anyone has anybody that's interested or would like more information, please give out my name, give out my email. You know, more than willing to talk to anyone, meet for coffee, or just get some information out there.
Terrific.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Morrison, anything with the CTA?
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, tonight, it's in your packet, Christine Cordio is here from the Adult Education Center. Christine, you want to come down and talk about your proposal?
Hello.
Hi.
So I have a few things that I could talk all night about adult education, but just a few things, mainly about fundraising. I have, I've been looking at each one, take one. But just before I start talking about that, I wanted to just mention that our grant, we're a state-funded grant, and it's going for, it was supposed to go for, the system was supposed to go for rebid this November. So in other words, it wasn't a continuation year for our grant, it was a competitive year for our grant. But the state asked for a waiver, so currently we are not going for competitive funding this coming year. It'll be the continuation year for FY 17. And then, no, 18, yeah, and then we're going to be bidding next summer. The date, they said it will come out in July for the following year. And usually it's a 5-year cycle. Whether that's going to continue or not, I won't know until the new RFP comes out. But that's all because of new changes in our federal regulations for adult basic education. They really are looking toward college and career readiness, workplace, getting students jobs, getting students into education and training. And so some of the programming could possibly change in our program based on whatever the RFP says. But that is something that we're already doing in our program. Every student has a college and education plan, but they're really looking at our performance, looking at what our students are doing after we leave, not what they're doing while they're in. So they're looking at outcomes. So that's just a little preview of what's to come with that. We call it WIOA is the law. It's the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And that's where our federal funds come, and that's what also articulates what we'll do at the state level with our state funds. So just wanted to mention that. And we've been here for 40 years, so hopefully we'll continue to be offering adult basic education services here in Clinton. So one of the things, the main thing that I originally needed to come for is at the program, as is with most education programs, we all need money. Our funding has been level funded for many years now. And we receive funding from NIPRO, and they have requested that we look for other sources of funding as well, as kind of a stipulation as to whether or not they continue to offering us funds. So we've been, various ways we've been trying to organize a fundraising committee and kind of hit the pavement and get out there and try to secure other resources. One of the small things that we'd like to do in our program is offer a snack bar during the break. And it does bring in some money that we turn around and can use with the students. Everything would go back to the students. We need to get approval in order to do that as a fundraiser. Some of the other things we do during the year would be things like a flower sale, So, you know, it's kind of a selling and collecting money, but we would need to get your approval to do that and open up or put it in our revolving account at the town. And one of the other things they just started talking about was to do a community fundraiser, like a chicken shoot, which I know is popular here, which I have never heard of, but I'm learning. So one of the things we thought we might do in the future too would be that. So that would all be kind of under program fundraising, events that we do to try to bring in some money. And we need approval from the school committee in order to set up an account like that. And then the other bigger piece of it is I'm proposing this letter, and I have attached our demographics to try to do kind of a campaign for adult basic education, where I have some people in my program that are willing to help, where we'll kind of target different maybe banks and businesses around town and clubs around town to try to get some support from them. So this is the letter that we're proposing, as well as submitting to them demographics of what our program looks like. And we talked about different ways to do it, cold calling versus letter writing, and we're proposing to try to send a bunch of letters out and then follow up with phone calls to various organizations within the community. One of the things we also talked about was doing a campaign kickoff article in the newspaper, so that people might be aware of it if they read the newspaper, that, oh yeah, I heard about that in the newspaper, so they're not shocked if we do propose. We're not asking, I mean, ideally, $20,000 is what NIPRO suggested we need to raise in addition to what we already receive, so we're sticking with that. Anything more is obviously welcome. Just an example of what we can do with $20,000 is listed here. 2 additional English classes, supplemental classes for job readiness and digital literacy, which is programming we need to start offering in addition to adult basic education and ESL. So this is just, you know, for your review, and if there's something glaring on it that you don't like, you can let me know before we send it out. But we will be meeting again soon, our little fundraising committee, to talk about how to do this. And then I know, Ed, you had asked for some demographic information. So this is our current demographic information. We will not just be targeting Clinton for resources, because we have students coming from other towns. Primarily, the 2 biggest towns would be Leominster and Marlborough. So we'll be, you know, looking at businesses in those areas too, to secure some funding for them. But we have a large waiting list bigger than we've had in a long time, almost pretty much since I've been doing this 16 years. I've never seen such a large waiting list of, and that's all students waiting for the evening English classes. So, and like I said, that 20,000 really is only cutting that in half. So,
This is great.
good.
So we need a vote from the committee to establish a, I guess, a new
Well,
fundraiser, or a revolving account? Or,
That fundraiser is what needs to be approved.
okay.
I have a question on the fundraiser.
Sure.
So, it's a great idea, we can make some money with that, will help fund the school. Is there something set up for internal controls, how it's coming in, how you're gonna manage the inventory? I mean, is there a procedure for that yet?
Yes, we would basically buy the stuff for the store. We would do coffee, tea, cocoa, and you can ask people who've been around in our program. They really need some kind of a break. And to provide that for them, they're begging for it, they're asking for it. So we would provide, you know, maybe water, maybe soda, but then snacks as well. And everything we're thinking 50 cents for everything. And we would just each night we have 2 evening classes, 2 morning classes. We would do it at the break at both. And then at the end of the week, reconcile, you know, the cash box and deposit it into the account, and anything that we purchase to replenish would be through the town with reimbursement.
Okay, that goes through the town or through us? How does that work?
Everything would run through her revolving
My-
account.
Right.
Right, so it would be on my warrant.
It goes right to the town.
Right. And things that we could do with that is, you know, incentives for attendance, some, you know, celebrations that we do within, our supply line is lower than it's ever been, you know, so anything to help replenish things in the classroom, it all goes back to the program and to the students.
The bottom line is, these people, most of them are coming from work. And like night school, I used to run this program for 1 year, many moons ago, and, you know, they're in class from 6 to 9 o'clock at night, and they're coming in from work. And so we've always given them some kind of 15-minute break or something, and they've got to have something. And rather than run to, you know, Dunkin' Donuts or something, where you offer them something right there. She's got her fancy little sign, the Calc Cafe.
Yeah.
And people enjoy a little break, and they make a little money, and they roll it right back into the fund anyway.
It's kind of a community thing for them too. It's their, you know, it's just really is part of our program to do that for them. So we just need approval for it now.
Okay.
Any other
I'll make a motion
questions?
to approve the fundraiser.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions, or?
Is there a way we can get updates on that, like every 6 months
Of
perhaps? or
course.
something?
Yeah,
Yep.
tell us how that's going, and how the
I'm big on
fundraising.
spreadsheets, so that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
We might even involve the students, we have student leadership, we haven't decided yet, but I was thinking that maybe that could be, you know, a little way for them to have some responsibility. But right now, it would be our office staff that would run it, you know, collect the money and then put it, we lock it in the office and then at the end of the week deposit it.
So I would just recommend that they team up with the business manager to be able to go over the policies and regulations so that they're in compliance, so that whatever our auditors have recommended in
Yeah.
the past, they're staying consistent with.
Right, which is what we've been talking already with the town and with Karen
Yeah, so I just
regarding.
recommend we follow the same protocol
Yeah.
for you guys as we do for the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And before we even came here, we talked about Department of Revenue and Department of Revenue.
Great.
Yeah.
And this was the clearest way for her to be able to do a fundraiser. The revenue goes in and out, and then whatever she has left, she's gonna put right back into the program. So we did call both to make sure that would be okay for them.
Will this motion be approving future fundraisers too? Is this like, or is it?
It's an ongoing.
It's an ongoing.
Their ability
The
to,
ability to
I'm
fundraise.
hearing it as
Okay.
their ability to do
Me
the
too.
fundraising.
Good.
We're establishing a revolving account for this
Yes,
program.
yes, clearly.
So what they do with it
So if we
is.
were to do a community event, like a chicken shoot, you're saying that would be approved now? I mean, obviously, we would let you know that that was happening.
I just
Okay.
didn't want you to have to come up here.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that's
every
what, yeah,
time we
Yeah.
I agree.
sell raffle tickets.
Yeah.
I know there's other-
I'm hearing it
there's
as an
Right.
overall.
That's how I see it. I know there's nothing to be said, but it has to be with discretion, obviously, what we're doing fundraising.
Oh, I know. Yeah. The only other two things that I
Well,
wanted,
We didn't
Let's
Oh,
we have
sorry,
to vote.
finish
So
the
let's
motion.
take a vote on that,
I
and then
just,
you can.
I just want.
Yes, go on.
What's the motion again?
To give them the ability to do fundraisers, so they can set up that revolving account, so that they have the ability to do these fundraisers. That's what we're voting on,
Was it-
giving
But
it.
shouldn't the motion be then to establish a revolving account?
I think that's
I-
what it is, isn't it?
But she has, an account right now that the NIPO fundraisers go in, so I think they can all go into that account. It's just you have to approve that she has the ability to do the fundraisers.
Yeah, it's the fundraising we're approving. The account exists, we're just giving her the authority to do the fundraising.
and I mean, Diane may want a separate account for it. I don't know if that is something you would have to
It's a separate
approve or.
motion. If-
Because
and-
the revolving accounts we have are the NIPRO funding
I think it
and
should
our
be
test
separate.
center. So
See, I would say it should be separate.
I'm,
Well,
personally, I'd prefer separate.
I would
but
too.
I think, which I think Diane can do, I think there are accounts that we've used for other things that maybe we could rename, but I'm not sure what the process is for you
Right.
in
So
regards to.
I would want to hear from our business manager
Yes.
first
Right.
before we.
Yeah.
I spoke to Diane, and originally she had said that if it was set up as a fundraiser, she could put it into the NIPO. But we certainly could ask her if we want to set up a separate one to keep it separated, the NIPO, and then other fundraisers, we can ask her to set up one.
I guess I would like to see that separate. I don't want to be joining with two different, because it's going to get messy. It's easier to keep it separate, we know what it's for, because this includes the store,
Yeah.
right? Because I thought we wouldn't put a store in,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that's two separate things. So I want to keep
Yeah.
all those things separate than the private entities, because that's always going to
For
constantly
my personal
moving.
record keeping, it would be easier, because otherwise I would have spreadsheets within spreadsheets for accounting for everything, but
Right, so it sounds like the motion should be to establish a revolving account and allow them to fundraise. I don't know, I'm just,
You wanna
I
modify
don't
it,
know.
then
Or
that's fine.
establish a separate account for her fundraisers.
So, do you
Right.
want to amend your motion to include
Sure.
the establishment of a?
Yes, I'll amend my motion to include the establishment of a revolving account.
I would second that.
Hmm?
I would second his amended
Okay.
motion.
So all those in favor of the revised motion?
Thank you.
Thank you for all of your good.
I think,
Mhm.
the other thing too, I think when you have those separate kinds of accounts, that you can look and see what's successful and what's not, too. You can
Mhm.
sort of see what kind of, how your efforts are paying off or not paying off, and
Right.
what works, what doesn't.
So the only other two things, and I don't know if you saw the paper on Friday, the Clinton item, but we got a call from the, I hope I get the name right, the Democratic Community Committee.
Democratic
Harold-
Town Committee.
Harold Naughton
Mhm.
oversees. They are doing a fundraiser at the Strand with Jimmy Tingle on October 22nd,
Mhm.
and the proceeds of that are coming to the Adult Learning Center.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, terrific.
So that was great news. That was a phone call we didn't have to make. They called us. And there's a nice article about it in the paper. It kind of is a prelude to us doing a kickoff
Yes,
now.
That's
It
their,
is in the
that's
paper
their
again.
fundraiser. And-
Yeah. And the other thing is with Nightbro, they have been, pretty adamant about me getting out there and getting money. And one of the things they've connected me with is, I'm not that familiar with it, but it's called Jericho Road. And they're an organization that helps nonprofits with fundraising. And it's usually a nonprofit organization and a corporate organization. So I'm partnering with Nightbro, and I think there is a fee for someone in my program to be trained for this, and they're covering that for us. So I just got that email today too, and I saw the paper today. So those two things are also happening as far as fundraising that is separate from us doing this effort,
Mhm.
so.
So what is it, Jericho?
It's called Jericho Road,
Do you have any information on that?
and
Can you get it to us?
I can.
I'm just kinda curious what
Like
that's
I
all
said,
about.
Nightbro is more versed on it than I am. This was Al sent me an email today. Well, they train people so that, all right, so this, I didn't make a copy for everyone, but I just kind of pulled that off of their website. Like I said, I'm just learning about it myself, but I'm pretty sure they train leaders to get people to help them raise money for programs where I'm too busy to do it myself. So it's a collaboration. Again, I'm not that familiar with it, but I'll learn about it because I'll probably be the one going to it.
I don't know if you considered, since you get a fairly decent amount of traffic in that building, we, years ago, raised about $30,000, and the majority of that money was from gift baskets that had, people bid on the gift baskets, and those, and if there's a way to secure them, if they're visible in that hallway when you come in, I can't help but think that that could be a very successful, and that's how that playground appeared in the back of the old elementary school, when it was still elementary school. I was on the council back then. The teachers,
Yeah.
teachers actually put the effort forward to put those baskets together. It was an amazing amount of money they raised, because they were all, the baskets contained various products from local merchants
Mhm.
and gift certificates, et cetera.
Yep.
And we raised a ton of money with those. So, and you get a lot, if you can secure them, you get a lot of people coming through that hallway.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think that
Do
that
they
might be
walk
a little
away?
successful. No, I mean, you have to secure them, find a
Yeah,
way of
yeah.
securing them, but I do think that that's, you know.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It is. I
Anyway.
think that's-
So, is there anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's extra?
Yeah. Thomas?
All right, also in your packet is the middle school edition of an activity account. Anne Marie, do you want to come down? I believe you have something like this in your packet, is it?
Nope. Not.
No? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you can use that, I guess.
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
good, yourself?
Great. So, the Clinton Middle School, I've had several teachers interested over the past 2 to 3 years to start a student council for students in grades 4 through 8. We have not held the elections for grade 4 yet. We're just introducing it to them slowly. But we do have student council elected, and they have met 6 times already. And their goal is to reach out to the community and to help improve the Clinton Middle School overall. They're in the process of working on murals right now. We just had a 7th grade student sketch a mural on one of the walls. It's unbelievable. Not painted yet, but just beautiful. So we're looking to get a student activity account for them in the revolving account so that they can fundraise, which they have been. They've been at the sporting events, selling snacks, and that's been a big hit. And they'll continue to do that through each of the seasons of sports, as well as participate in the Harvest Festival, which is coming up in November. They're working with the Ghost and Goblins 5K race this coming Saturday, volunteering their time. So it's a great program. So we're just asking if you would approve them to have their own revolving line item in the middle school revolving account.
The student council, to be a club and a student activity, is given them a revolving account. I'm not so sure that Diane's gonna approve a revolving account for the for the student council. But adding them as a club in the student activity is something that I think would be okay, as long as it's students raising money for students. But additional revolving would be part of the student activity.
Okay.
So right now, it doesn't exist
Right.
as an account or as part of a big account.
Right.
It does at the high school, because they've had a student council for years and years and years. But this is new, so that's why you guys would have to approve this as well. It's kind of a bookkeeping thing more than anything else, but
So do we have
So-
I'm sorry. Gary.
No, I'm just gonna ask for clarification what it is actually we need a motion to approve, because
Right.
now.
Well, any new student activity should be approved by the school committee.
Mhm.
Correct.
So
So,
she's asking to have a new student activity club at the middle school as a student council.
Okay.
So
Does-
all the funds raised would go into the big student activity account with the allocation for them
Yep.
is monitored by, actually I do the reconciliation every month.
And there's 2 teachers that are volunteering their time to oversee it.
You got a question?
yeah, I guess my question is, do we have a scope of what this group is gonna actually do? I mean, normally we create a club, we have here's what they're gonna be doing. I didn't say student government, but it should be something more formalized.
It's community service.
Yeah, but
to
do we
the
have that
town.
written up? Do we have
Well,
similar to
exactly
what
what
this?
they're doing, it's brand new.
Okay, so we
They're,
should have,
they're
so
just
we should,
formulating.
right, so we
their
should have
goals.
That gives some
some,
explanation, I
Yes.
think that's,
Right, so, okay,
that
so maybe
states
perhaps earlier.
the reason,
yeah.
so they do that on that, right? I think. Seemingly.
Is there something written like the high school? I know Mr. Morrison, he does that, so just.
It's our first time.
Right.
So we're just formulating the club itself
Okay.
with 2 volunteer teachers and with a group of students. I mean, they've just started it literally this year. So no, there's nothing etched in stone what they're
Okay.
gonna specifically do. I know they're very energetic and eager.
I guess I would just like to see something, at least have an idea or a draft of what some of the ideas they're entertaining to do. You know,
Well, it's
just,
some fundraising to get
Right.
money into their account
Okay.
so that they can do projects in the school
okay,
as well as projects out in the community. And one of them being volunteering at the PTA 5K Ghosts and Goblins race.
I think that, like all these things, I think, just with Christine, that we would get an update on those activities and what,
Sure.
how that's progressing and
I
keep us
can have
abreast
the
of what,
minutes
as that
sent
starts
to
to
you if you want.
formalize.
So there's no cost right now, there's no, I mean, at some point he's going to.
No, there's no cost to the
Advisors
students,
and
it's
things like
just
that.
fundraising to help them with supplies they need to accomplish some of the activities
So
they.
no stipends at this point in time or anything like that?
What's that?
There's no stipends or anything
Oh,
at this point?
absolutely. It's volunteer.
Right, it's all volunteer.
Go ahead, Karen.
It can only be students raising money for students, so they'll be raising money for themselves to do student activities with it.
Right.
So it really can't even be part of the school per se. It has to be students raising money for students'
Mhm.
activities.
But a project of painting murals on the wall is a student activity.
As long as it's not like, they can't raise money so they can buy books from that.
Oh, no.
So, I'm just saying that.
Right,
as an
it's
example.
really activities for them to participate in that's going to make the school a better place for them
Mhm.
and to do some community service projects.
Community service project. So that's the basis of student activity is, best I can say it is it's students raising money for students. They can't raise money for the school.
Right.
Yeah.
Can they raise money for a charity?
So I'm confused.
No,
Okay.
So what would they do with that money?
We cannot buy flour if, let's say a parent of the seniors, we have line items. Last, seniors, juniors, everybody has it, every year parent passes away, God forbid, that class cannot send flowers through that account.
Right.
Say the senior class,
Right.
they would have a line, each senior class.
They'll
has
pick
their
the,
student activity.
class trip, the seniors.
Class
will pay for
trip.
it.
Yep.
They, for
Caps and
the
gowns.
prom,
So
different things like
projects
that.
Okay.
that the student council decides
Right.
they'd like to do, it's for that use.
So what would they
They
use the money
wanted
for?
to do a dance for the students, then.
Can I get an example of what they would use the money for? Because I'm not sure what they would use
They're
the
gonna
money
paint murals on the Clinton Middle School walls, so they need
Okay.
paint, they need
for. Okay,
supplies.
gotcha.
So they buy it because they're gonna be participating in it. They might wanna host something for the student body
Okay.
They
at the
might
middle
do
school.
community service, clean up this roadway
So they gotta buy
or
plastic bags.
grab
to do-
plastic bags or sticks
Raise money for
or
a
rubber
dance.
gloves.
Graduate, the 8th grade graduation or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
a great idea.
It
And
is.
please thank the teachers that are volunteering to take this on. It's a tremendous opportunity to give kids an opportunity to,
Start to
learn
learn.
about leadership and give back and best of luck with it.
Thank you.
Who are the teachers that?
Mr. Justin Murray and Miss
Oh.
Kate McNamara.
A lot of energy there, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of energy.
Young-
Lot of energy
young
there.
folks. Definitely.
That's great. So do we have a motion then to let
Make a
this-
motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made
Happy to second it.
and happy to be second. All those in favor? So just keep us informed of how it's going.
I will. I'll,
And what the
try to
efforts
get
are.
you the minutes.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resignation, we have one, it's one of our new people, Derek Sosnowski is BCBA, and it says, please accept this letter as a formal 2-week notice of my resignation. My position as behavior specialist. My final day of employment with Clinton Public Schools will be October 13. He's taking another position, more pay, more responsibilities, whatever, and we have now posted this position, and we're in the process now, so. Mr. Chairman, I guess back to you for the Facilities Subcommittee report.
All right. So were you able to visit the high school?
I was able to visit the high school, I gave you the report last meeting, and I can give you an update on that. if
All
you'd
right,
like.
you know what? I probably misplaced it. I apologize.
That's okay, but I have it in front of me if you would like an update.
That would be true.
Okay, so I'd like to thank Mr. Hastings. He came in at 6:30 in the morning on a Friday for me during the summertime, so very grateful for his accommodation. Everything, for the most part, at the high school is in great shape. There was a few items that I'd like to bring up. We have ceiling tiles and lights that needed to be replaced, but that was because they needed to coordinate with a lift to be able to come in because of the height, to be able to replace those items. So they have to be a little more strategic as far as lining that up because they don't always have access to that lift. The front lobby doors also needed some repair. And then in the auditorium, the curtain needs to be replaced. Mr. Hastings has received some bids, and it's around $6,000 to do so. But I think that it is the showcase, the main point that we show when people come in on a regular basis. So I think it's important to have that, put in place and to have it done right. Mr. Hastings pointed out that we want to go with somebody fairly local because of the need for repair and assistance with an item like that. So we have to be careful not to just go online and go with the cheapest bidder, because we need to be able to go back to people for support with that. The other big item that was in place that needs assistance is the boys' locker room. The doors need to have crash bars, and then also the doors have a fairly large space that's allowing in outside air. So we need to look into either repairing or replacing those doors. So those were the only items in the high school that needed to be addressed.
All right. Okay.
Just to follow up with that, Mike, thank you. That recommendation on the crash bar does come from the fire department as well. I know that you were very perceptive on that. It also they also said the same thing.
Great.
They came in right at around the same time as yourself.
Thank you.
Is that something you can add to existing?
I guess it'd be just to, what happened was, we already replaced those, this came up last year. We put some pegs in the door. And come to find out that they were saying, which they suggested first, and they realized that that was not enough. They think we need to go one step beyond and put crash bars like we have in the other doors, even though we can keep them secure, we can lock, but those do need to be addressed for safety and I don't know who does those yet. We'd have to look into something like that, the price. But whoever does do work like that, I think also would be, what Mike also suggested, the bottom of these doors in the front, where those carry.
Yeah.
The weather is, I don't know if it's the weather or what, but there's a gap in these type of doors. So whoever does doors like that would be the person.
So it's an exterior door, and
Right.
a lot of times
So
what
weather
happens is-
sealing needs to be.
Well, weather sealing, because a lot of times it's, expanding, contracting, and over time,
Yeah.
you end up losing a lot of space, and a lot of heat comes in and out.
Yeah.
We just got all new doors last year at the middle school, so that's probably where we have to go to start looking for that company to see what they could do for us, but. All right.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Can we have a follow-up meeting to these reports, like maybe halfway through the year? Because I know I'm guilty of this, the same thing happened last year. I visited the schools I had to, put together a list of what was wrong, and it just kind of falls to the wayside when we get busy dealing with other
Yeah.
stuff. I think
Yeah.
if we had it in the schedule, if we knew that we're gonna have to give an update on it, I think it would, I know it would help me to keep it on my own radar, to make being vocal about some of the things that I noticed that I think we should be.
We can do that. I mean, if they're major expenses, nothing's gonna happen.
Correct.
I can promise you that right now.
Well, and I think
mean,
that's
it might be in the
part of it.
budget in the future, but,
And then just
You
look
know.
at priority if there's safety.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, I know Jim and I have talked about the curtain for a long time, and he's got several prices, and we've talked about the drama club maybe doing a fundraiser, but it's a major expense, but I think it was repaired once pretty well, and then it was torn by some other group.
It was sewn by a local.
So, yeah, so, I mean,
The back one has already been replaced, so I don't know what kind of a product they bought when they built 19 years ago, but the back one, the back curtain has already been replaced once for $4,000. But this is more expensive because it comes in actually 3 parts.
Is there a way to take a look at the rental budget of the auditorium specifically and maybe come up with a list of requirements that need to be done on a regular basis that can come out of that account, the repairs? So that the money from the repairs from that area.
well, I mean, we have rental money, we could, that might be one way to go about it, rather than put it in a budget, the money that we're getting, but we don't per se have any groups that rent out the auditorium per se.
Right, so, but, and all I'm looking at is, and I think you made the recommendation earlier with the adult agency, is if we have that earmarked and we're taking the money for the repairs out of that line item, then we'll be able to take a strong account as far as how are we doing with our rental? Are we aligned with what we should be charging for rental? Because if we're paying more money out in repairs than we're bringing in, then we need to
Yes.
take that into consideration.
Yes, yeah. No, we could do that. Certainly, like the doors will probably have to wait. Some of these other things might be able to be done, but I mean, I want to hear from everybody, because I don't know how
So-
extensive this
So,
list is.
like, the doors that I mentioned earlier
Yeah.
were just, cosmetic, and it'd be nice to have, fixed. But like Mr. Hastings was saying, the doors of the locker room are being requested upon the fire
Yes,
department.
yes, that's more safety. The other one is something nice that we hopefully will get to, but we may not get to.
Right.
The stark reality of budgets is the issue, and that's always the way it is. If it's that extensive, we might have to do like a warrant article, depending upon, that's what we had to do with these doors over here, because they weren't even locking properly half the time. You'd slam them, and if you were strong enough, you could open them. Even locked doors, you could open.
I think that's
Not
the situation
anymore.
here as well.
Yeah. So, all right, how about some of the other,
I was not able to go to the elementary school yet.
okay, you can just put that off and whatever. You're gonna be pretty busy, I think.
I should be able to this week, because Anne Marie, we're planning on getting together for the STEAM fair, so I'll just schedule like an hour or so before or after, and I'll take a walk through the middle school. Okay.
Steve? you-
Yep, I had a chance to take a look through the fields a couple weeks ago, and today I took a walk through the elementary school fields. Starting with the elementary school, one of the biggest denominated, common theme is a lot of the fencing. It's kind of like falling apart or being bent, or some of the gates are busted, and that's just goes across the board. On the playground by Oxford Court on the Ash Street side, there was brush that was kind of overgrown onto the actual playground itself. That's something that's simple, should be able to.
From the embankment?
Correct, but it's actually going right into the playground itself. There needs to be more trash receptacles. The ones that are there are pretty beat, getting beat up pretty badly. And I understand they get a lot of use, a lot of people go to those fields. And it's also, there's that issue whether the Parks and Rec's supposed to be doing something with that also, so we have to kind of get a handle on that also, because that baseball diamond, the infield's getting overgrown again, so. The other one looks pretty good, but the one over here, so, again, those are things that, when it comes to the budget, there's only so many people, so I'm just pointing out the things that are there. So that's, there's a fence over by, that's more part of the elementary school, but behind the fire station, the fence that runs along with the playgrounds there, there's one gate that's kind of like
Oh, yes, yes.
busted
Yep.
there, and there's one
Yep.
fence thing that's really bent really bad. I don't know what happened there, but, again, it's more of the same, with there. To the, and it just, some paint would go a long way some places and stuff like that, but again, a lot of it's manpower, I think, and we have to focus on other stuff. That's elementary school. It sounds like there's a lot of it, but it's not that bad. I walked the middle school fields. The main field looks really good. If you walk down towards, some of the dugouts are being overgrown again. Some of the sheds are kind of falling apart. It was one of the sheds by the last league field that they used. The doorknob is busted.
This is middle school?
The middle school field, right, over by.
Behind the state pool, sort of?
Right, that one there. That gate, when you come into the field itself, that's busted also too. It's all bent up, so you can't
Yes.
really close it properly. It's been like
Yeah.
that for years now. The fence line that goes by the pool, that fence line also, again, is falling down, and that's kind of a safety thing, because, kids run to it, they may jump on it, and maybe fall down the embankment. We don't want any of that going on. The old basement diamond close up, is it South Main Street?
Yes, all the
Okay.
way in the
All the way,
corner.
that's,
Yes.
that needs a lot of repair.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't get a lot of use, but that netting.
The
it's all-
netting is a problem.
Yeah, it's all
I hear
overgrown.
from the neighbors.
Right, it's all overgrown. So there's a lot of things, again, more trash receptacles. One of the days that I went, there was a lot of trash left over. And I don't know, it's just, because, again, it's only one person doing all that.
Yes,
So-
that's the problem.
So we gotta figure out how we can keep that up and maintain. So again, some stuff needs paint, the fields are starting to get overgrown. When the grass gets cut, it's not always raked up properly. It's a big field though, it's a real big field. So again, but fencing's the big thing. One of the big things that I got concerned about was is these electrical outlets that kind of go in ground. Sometimes it's for the electricity and sometimes it's for the sprinkler systems. A lot of those covers are busted. So if you're walking and you're not paying attention, you can actually trip on that and hurt yourself. It's my understanding you have to kind of move the cross-country track a little bit different.
Okay,
So
that I don't
we should
know.
look at that. I took some pictures now.
So it's like a
I'll be-
sprinkler, the sprinkler caps, I
Right.
think it's called.
Yeah, and I got pictures of that. I'll be able to forward them to you.
Okay.
That's the middle school. The tennis courts between the middle school and the high school, the fencing on the tennis courts on the bottom, they're kind of curving up, and I think it's just normal. Some fences have like a big pipe that goes all the way around. So again, that's kind of curling up.
Originally, they were wired, and I think
Right.
that wire broke.
The
or
wire's still
something.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
but
but
it's
some of
not-
it busted, right.
yeah, yeah.
It's starting to curl up, and it's usually,
Yeah, we should definitely.
right, so we need to look at all that, because they invested a lot of money in those, so we need to kind of take care of that before it gets worse. So there's some, the playground for is it the preschool?
Yes.
Right,
Right
in
here.
the high school,
Right
correct,
here.
right there. So, this was a couple weeks ago, so maybe it's all set up, but I mean, again, some of the gates are kind of busted, so.
Yeah, we had trouble with the gates.
Gates and, the stuff that goes into the, like the
Mulch, yeah.
I know like the elementary had like a rubber mulch, right?
Yes, yep.
Right, so it'd be nice to do something like that over here at the high school. Some of the sheds are starting to get old and worn and stuff like that, so. Again, it's just, the stuff that we really can't afford to do, but we gotta mention it, cause it's happening. And hopefully with
Oh,
the
yeah.
facilities manager, that's squared away. So that's the middle school and some of the high school. On the Veterans Complex field, the soccer field looks really good. The main field looks really, really good. The only concern I saw when I walked the whole field, again, a lot of the fence line, a lot of it's falling apart towards the end.
Yes.
It's overgrown with brush.
Yep.
If you walk the whole thing, you'll see it. It's just,
Yeah.
if you don't do
Well, that's
something with
why
it.
I tried to get money for fencing and got
Right.
kinda shot down.
Right.
or
So it's either pay
cut in
now,
half.
right,
It's-
pay now or pay later, but sooner or later
Yes.
it's gonna have to get done.
Yeah.
So that's there. Also, the flags for the Veterans Field, they're up there and they're nice. There's no lighting at all for those flags. And-
You mean way over?
Yeah, unless it got fixed recently, all the way down.
He just changed that.
Did they fix that? Good.
Tim
O'Toole.
O'Toole.
And he took one of the lights and he moved it, it's on the pole to
Okay.
go towards those flags.
Okay, so the ones that, remember?
Yeah, they're halfway up, I
Right.
think they're halfway up. He came in about
Good.
2 weeks ago.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
And instead of replacing the ones on the ground, because they're not good.
Okay, gotcha.
He moved those so that we.
So there's lighting on that now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Now, the other flag right here, although I was told right at the entrance.
Yeah.
I was told the street light was good enough when I
Yeah.
took over this
Yeah.
job. And a veteran visited me
Right.
recently and reminded me of the rules. And so
Right.
I talked to Tim on that same time he was working on the other flag.
Right.
And he has promised me a dedicated light for that
Right.
flag at the entrance, which apparently has never been done properly. So,
There's a lot of little things, so
Yeah.
things like that. If you could fix
Well,
the ones up,
that's-
it would be beautiful if you could do that.
Yeah.
Again, but I'm just bringing
it's
it
a
up.
veterans field,
Right.
and it
Right.
never has been, the main flag as you go in has
Exactly.
never been properly
Right.
lit, and it should be.
Right. The parking lot, it it hasn't been paved in years. Some of the islands in the parking lot, they used to have tar on them. They kind of like, some of the tar is missing, so this kind of overgrown with weeds sometimes. So if we could tar those up, that would take care of that problem. Under the bleachers, it seems to be a lot of stuff accumulating down there. That probably shouldn't be there. It's just a question of putting where it needs to be. And down, all the way down toward the end of the parking lot where the containers, the storage containers are, there's a lot of old fencing around there that should probably get picked up and take care of, it, just improve it, just visibly look a lot better. The track looks nice,
It should.
yeah, and it should, right, but you gotta, I did notice that the container where they put the water, it's on the track, and maybe should be on the grass, not necessarily on the track. I took a picture, I'll send it to you. But
They might be putting that there purposely as a deterrent to keep people out of the first 2 lanes of the track. I know that
Could be.
Yeah.
We've had all
it's only
kinds of
one of them,
issues.
they don't do it on the other side, though. Yeah, but I hear what you're saying.
We're still working on that other part
Right.
that needs to be finished.
Right. So a lot of it's fencing, a lot of the gates, it just, if we can touch them up, it would really look nice. And again, I mean, I wanna say there's only one person really doing that, and it's hard to do it all, by yourself. But again, we probably should look at maybe getting more help to do that so we can maintain the field. It's gonna cost a lot more money down the road if we don't take care of it right away. But I know there's other important issues also. There's one more thing. I talked to the facilities guy, and it would be nice if we could get like we may need like a trailer when he brings stuff back and forth. I asked him if he needed some stuff. Like a bucket for the truck would be helpful, and a walk-on ride-on mower. He said the one that we have is kind of on its way out.
Getting old.
It's
Yep.
getting old, so at some point, we're gonna have to look at that. And if you get people the right equipment, if you can't give them manpower, if you give them the right equipment, you may be able to do more with less. So, just bring up some points, a lot of positive things. The main fields look nice, but again, I don't think we have enough manpower to really keep up with all this stuff. But some basic stuff like cleaning up the trash and by the container would go a long way, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll submit the pictures too, so you have them.
All right.
Central office. Well, despite being almost 100 years old, the building puts a good face. I think it's a pretty remarkable building, and it's nice to see the activity level that goes on there. A number of the rooms on the first floor received paint this year, and they look good, including our business manager's office. The adult ed classrooms still look good. The building's clean, and like I said, it still presents really well. I mean, I think a terrazzo floor will be here long after. They never wear out, so they built it well. The downstairs is quite busy. I was in the former kitchen dining area. It's remarkable to see the activity level there. It's fun to see the kids all working out, and I've certainly heard the weights dropping from above, but seeing it in person is quite something. And since my kids ate down there, it's quite a transformation from that day to now. From what I've discussion, and this again, I'm not sure how, and I certainly didn't inspect it, but I've certainly heard that the furnace needs to be replaced. I'm not sure how problematic that is, and if that's something that can be go on a warrant, make a warrant item. Certainly,
Probably, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Every Monday the heat's off, that's okay. We press a button and it comes back.
Well, as long as it comes back on, but I suppose it
Someday
needs to
it
be.
won't.
Or, yeah.
Someday it won't, right? We need that.
The windows have always been, I mean, this has gone on for a long time. I'm not sure when those windows were put in, but they at this point are not functional. And I know there was a period of time when you took your life in your hands. If you raised the window up, it.
Absolutely, yes. You don't open the
They're all
windows.
French,
Yes.
So,
76. I
Oh,
think, is
okay.
when they were.
well, I think the building deserves new windows, so I think that's something that we would need to put against, find out if we have to do that on a warrant article or put it when, under facilities. Also same thing, exterior doors, they certainly need to be
Yes.
redone, and I think that the complaint last year about the back door, now it doesn't function, I mean, you
Doesn't
can open it,
close
but it
by
doesn't
itself.
close, yes,
Doesn't
it's,
close by itself.
so I think that, if those kinds of closers, and my understanding is that those closers, according to Mr. Engano, cannot be bought any longer for that kind of a door, that perhaps we really should buy new doors, especially, even if we have to just do that one entrance, because clearly the people use that entrance the most.
Yeah.
And I think, it's the back of the building, I think it's important that we have a secure, doorway there. My understanding is that, last year I was hoping that they would resurface the old gymnasium auditorium for the children's program there, but, my understanding from Mr. Engano is that Laura Taylor is looking into getting looking into an estimate on a child-friendly surface, which would be more of a rubberized, just go over the wood instead of having to refinish it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to talk with her today. I will try and see if she can give us a report on it.
Yeah, they have some already, and she said she has like a revolving account, which would be the best way to go.
Mhm.
But it's thick, and it's put together like a puzzle, and you can do anything on it, which is good. But I mean, originally we had talked about resurfacing like a
Right.
basketball court. Well, they they don't use it as a basketball court. If anything, it's mostly, the floor is mostly covered with mats and thick rubber, covering of some kind. And it's, again, they're running around, they're playing, they're throwing ball, there's slides and all kinds of stuff. And so, I mean, I think that's the way we have to go for the floor, as opposed to like Clinton High gym, where we strip it, sand it, all that kind of stuff. I don't see how we could do that with a floor that hasn't probably been touched since '76.
Well, hopefully we can get an estimate from her and find out what we're talking about, which would be great, because obviously for the kids playing on it, that'd probably be the right kind of surface
Yeah.
for them to have in there. And then last but not least, and I said this last year, and to Ed's point, I think some of the stuff we need to, maybe in the budget cycle, make sure we revisit this stuff, these issues, so that, we can see which ones actually become a warrant or not a warrant. And my feeling is that the superintendent's office and the administrative team offices should have new carpeting. I think that the superintendent's office, if someone's coming in to visit the district or they just shouldn't be having duct tape run down.
I kind of like my duct tape.
I
but,
know.
Whatever.
I do think that
No.
that would be a
Yeah.
nice upgrade. I think appearances count for a lot on that, so.
Does it make sense then, a month hence, or, whatever would work from a timeline perspective, to consolidate all of these reports and then, have a meeting with the municipal side and then talk about what that might look like in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of I don't disagree with windows or carpeting, but I think that if there's a possibility that the furnace is gonna go, then we probably need to have some kind of study done on that, some assessment.
Efficiency study.
Right. I just, we don't know how much shelf life is left in that, but, if there's no heat, windows won't matter.
This is true.
Yeah. What's that? Yes. Karen and I met recently, though, with, I forgot the group, but it's this performance contracting type of thing. And we have to send them our energy bills for each building and everything. And it's kind of one of those things where we've looked into it before, where they basically do a study and show you how much money you can save, and then they secure that material for you, and your budget stays the same, but the amount of money that you've saved in the long run goes toward the cost. And so at least we're looking into that. We met with a gentleman about a week ago, and so in other words, a new boiler, he would figure that out, what it would cost us, but also how much money it would save. So the budget isn't cut, it's same budget, but the money that you're saving in the long run through a new energy efficiency would go toward paying the bill. So we're kind of working on that piece, but, I mean, as you've all found, there's plenty more, and certainly, your input is important. I do agree with some of the things said, that if it comes down to textbooks or new windows for me to look out, I gotta go with textbooks, I gotta go with technology, and we stay warm, and it's okay, you just know better than to open a window and make sure your hands aren't anywhere near it, because it's gonna come down on you.
And
I think we
understand-
could collect those things.
Okay.
I think
Yes.
once we have
Yeah.
everything electronically, I could take a stab at pulling out the things that look like
Sure.
large items versus the things that maybe just we can do in operating.
Right.
Yeah.
We
Day-to-day
shouldn't really
stuff.
have to go to the town if it's small repairs.
If it's
that
little
need to be
stuff,
done.
Sure.
no,
have to
no,
do
not
But,
at all.
but the major stuff that you guys point out,
Yeah.
I can pull out and then give it back to you as
And
a,
it's kind of,
per building.
Sure.
it is kind of odd about fencing, because Steve mentioned that a lot, and of course, I had quite a bit of money in a warrant article originally for fencing of all kinds. And I'm sure you've noticed, like at the elementary school a year ago, you talked about the fence that
Right,
was.
right.
And I'm waiting for the track to be fixed, because I was kind of forced to put those things together, and the track and fencing combined. So once we're through and we know the cost of fixing that track, and we already have a date set for district meet, we've got to get that done. I'm going to see how much we have left, and that's going toward fencing. And the next thing would be the elementary fence, which is, does look awful. It's been hit by a plow or whatever. and then we'll see what we've got but all of it would be fencing the rest of the way, so we can see what kind of improvements we could make on that.
Some stuff, it could be some community service projects to do with some stuff.
Oh, we
Most
might-
school
might
kids
be
will
able
go
to
out there and
get
do
it,
some
yes,
stuff, you know,
yeah,
it's just.
Yeah, that gate at the elementary school, kind of close to the back of the old fire station, has been that way for a
Right.
long time, too. I think that was hit by something
Well,
years
even
ago.
the ones by the Ash Street,
Yes,
around the
yeah,
bend.
yeah.
and it's not really not, it's just open, it's closed, it's open. Well, and provided with pallets to do things, it's just probably not.
And Robert did not mention my new parking lot. And I
Oh, I'm
do
sorry,
want-
it's number one on my list too, that the it just,
Your printing
the
is
back
good.
surface, yes, my printer decides to give me half lines, but, yes, the back lot
Yes.
looks very nice.
I want to thank Clinton DPW for that.
Yeah.
We had swings in the jungle gym there for a while. I gave away the swings for free for somebody to cash in for metal or whatever, because he hauled off all kinds of junk for me. And the jungle gym, we donated to, I think, Sterling Gym Academy or something like that out that way. That cleared the backyard. We did pay someone to level it, and they did a very good job. And then the town came in and kind of leveled it a little bit more, and then just recently put down the crushed stone or whatever, road shavings, whatever they call it. And now the next step is to just get people to know how to park. And then we're ready to go. But I bet you there's
Good luck.
room for
Good luck with that.
25, 30 cars out the back now. And so, finally happened.
Yeah,
Only about 5 years in the making.
better late than never.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Make a suggestion, when we do budgeting, I think we should bring the head custodians in and see if they have some ideas on what, else might be needed, and maybe start building towards like a 5-year plan of
Mhm.
things, because you're certainly not gonna get them done
Right.
in 1 year, but maybe start doing a list and prioritize the things that you need done, so that we can start to build each time we do our budget, look at our list and try to spread it over 5 years rather than squeeze it into one.
Great idea.
All for it.
I think once we have that list and, either create a subcommittee or have
Yeah.
submit it to the head custodians to see what they think in terms of prioritizing and, yeah, it's a good idea.
And I know some of the head custodians have mentioned to some things that they had wanted in the budget and they never put in, so I like to give them a little more to come in and give us your ideas, because I think some of them are just thinking, just supplies and stuff like that, where I did hear one of them saying that his snow blower was about to die.
Yeah.
Things like that, where we say, okay, well, recommend it when you're doing your budget. So I like to get a little bit more input from them, because
Yeah.
I do think they know some of the things that we may not know are ready to die.
You want to have,
Yeah, we can
You
do
wanna-
that, yep. I mean, most of them have 5-year plans as it
Yeah.
is, and some of those things have been done, and some of them have not been touched, but.
do you want to have the principals talk to their head custodians?
Sure,
and then-
yeah,
and then get a
absolutely, or I
report
can
back?
talk to them
Yeah,
and,
okay.
and
Building based.
All right.
all right. I guess.
Superintendent search, I have it in stereo here, you guys, this was awesome, the online, I guess it's an online survey.
Yeah, so Mr. Mendoza and I met and developed an online survey that you've seen at this point that we'll make available to the community, to staff members, to Clinton parents, anyone who's unable to attend one of the forums. Mr. Nagano said that he will publish the link on the website. We'll also, I think, put it out through social media as well and make sure that we continue to cast as wide a net as possible for any stakeholder to offer feedback and input on the process. One of the things that we felt strongly about was looking at the questions in terms of a needs assessment as well. So it's not just questions relative to the qualities of the next superintendent, but what are the things that you value in the Clinton Public Schools that should be continued and enhanced, and then, you know, what are areas that, in that person's opinion, need to be added or, you know, looked at closely, and then an opportunity for respondents to let us know what they might want asked as a question. So I think that it'll be very helpful in helping to inform the process. We have dates tonight. How did the staff forum go? Were there attendees or?
I stayed miles away.
Okay, so we don't know at this point.
But it was 2 to 2:30. I do believe several administrators went down during that
Okay.
time. That was their time.
Yeah.
2 to 2:30, and then 2:30 to 4. That was here. So I don't know. You know, I
Okay.
do believe certain staff came, and then the other one we've changed. Right?
Thank you, yeah, so we just wanted to make sure that we were respectful of elementary teachers getting out later, so we were able to move the time back and move Thursday's staff forum to the elementary school. So thank you to
Yes.
both you and to Mr.
So
Rulo
that's
for accommodating
3:30
that.
to 5.
Correct.
On Thursday at the Clinton Elementary School Library. And that, again, is for all staff, not just elementary staff.
Right.
But anybody who couldn't make today's meeting, maybe perhaps can make Thursday's meeting. That's meeting with MASC reps and 2
Correct.
reps or 1.
I don't know,
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't seen Mr. Kutry yet,
Okay.
so I think that he was hoping to have 2 if possible, but if not, it would be him.
Okay.
And then,
And then the community one is just ending right now.
it is, yeah.
At the elementary school.
And so Thursday, the 20th, our search committee comes together for the first time for our orientation here, CHS Media Center. And after the orientation, we will consolidate the feedback from the online surveys, from the forums, and then you know, work with Mary, I think, to lay out a number of the steps that have to happen in terms of what is now an adjusted timeline from where we started, pushing things back a week or so. And then we'll be able to provide you, I hope, with an update on the 24th at our meeting.
Okay.
Terrific, thank you very much. You have
You
anything to
covered
add?
everything, right? Thank you, Joe.
All right.
No, in all fairness, I want to thank Joe. Joe's been doing a lot of this work, and thank you. You know, it's just-
Group effort.
All right.
Ed?
Before we do that, I just wanted to say I've been starting the review of the materials we had before, you know, about Clinton, about the schools.
Oh, terrific.
And trying to update that, and I'm gonna try and make it a wider, and Mary's been good, she's starting to send me other towns, that's where this came from,
Oh,
other
that's terrific.
towns'
There you go.
search stuff, so I think, you know, one of the things that we didn't talk about last time, we would talk about clearly is, you know, that we have an active PTA, the level of our technology, our parent involvement,
Oh,
volunteers. and stuff like-
volunteerism
There's all
is-
kinds of stuff that are going on in the district, which I think paints a much broader
Mhm.
picture for an incoming candidate. And I think, so I really want to make sure that's all included, not just, you know, who we are and what the schools are. I think it's more wider than that. So I'm also going to meet with the technology, our new technology head,
Mhm.
and get feedback from him as to what the state of the district is, you know, in terms of technology, and so we can paint a real hopefully a really full picture for a candidate as to where we are, where we think we need to go, what needs attention, what doesn't, et cetera. And then I'll give it to all you guys, and we'll go from there.
Great, thanks.
Anyway, I'm sorry, so marketing.
Yeah, we met two weeks ago now, because we didn't meet last week. I met 2 or 3.
2 or 3
I
weeks.
think we met one time after our last meeting here.
Okay.
We discussed putting together a schedule of events coming up, like specifically ones that the digital media department handles right now, filming football, you know, basketball. Try to put together a schedule with some resources associated with it to help kind of prepare the town, because the town is helping us out with paying some of the filmers and stuff like that. So trying to get them some information up front to help them be able to kind of see what's coming down the road and what we'll be looking for to help out the kids that are helping us out with that filming. We talked about briefly talked about some equipment that we made, kind of like a wish list of equipment that we may I will be talking to the town about, and prioritizing it and seeing what they can help us out with, to upgrade some of our existing equipment in the digital media department. I think we're pretty much done with we discussed the teachers, their webpage and a template, and that's kind of been done, and that's gonna be part of, the professional development.
This Thursday, every school is gonna devote some time to doing that. Dawn is gonna send out the instructions one more time, and every school is gonna have a chance as part of the PD to update that. But if you go through and you check Find Your Teacher under each school, you're gonna see a vast majority of them have.
Right.
Most of them that haven't been done are brand-new folks who
Mhm.
probably aren't quite sure yet how to do that, so.
So the website's great. This was just something that we discovered that make it, just a first-time parent or something going on the website. We wanna make sure we have that, kinda neatened up. The next thing we're thinking about tackling with that is the sports websites and the sports sections rather,
Yes.
just to get some conformity to them and some minimum standards, to them, cause they're great, and some of them we were looking at, some of the coaches put so many statistics,
Oh, yes.
like sabermetrics,
Yes.
there's so much stuff on there, but just an attempt to get everything standardized. And one thing very briefly I talked with Mr. Morrison about, we already have an existing, a short video that, I think the original one is maybe 2 minutes long, and it's kind of like a welcome to Clinton. If you go on the Greenlight Studios, I believe it's the first video that's on there. And we talked briefly about making a new one, and I was thinking about some different places where we could use that for advertising. I mean, obviously the public access channel, possibly maybe doing something. I know the Strand does a lot of advertising before the movies. See if we can put something together to go down there, talk to those guys about helping us out. But that was about it, and we'll be meeting next this Thursday. This Thursday,
yeah.
yes. That's it.
Great. I'm not sure, hopefully people are starting to read those policies. Maybe in 2 meetings or so, we should hopefully be able to,
It was just kind of a reminder that
Yeah.
Mary gave all of you homework,
right,
Mhm.
and I don't know.
just trying to nudge people to do
I
it.
know you've been busy, all of you, as we all have, but we do have to keep that sort of on the front burner.
Is there anything under new business? Anybody? Public comments? All right. Motion, you have something else?
Well, one thing, next week, right, Anne Marie, for the STEAM Fair, we're gonna be having the launch next Tuesday, the 25th. So we'll be having a launch for this coming year's STEAM Fair. So we'll just, it's gonna be 6th and 7th, right? Yeah,
Eight is already,
it's part of the curriculum this year.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we'll just, have a couple speakers. We're gonna show a little video from last year's STEAM Fair to the kids. Maybe introduce the kids, have them stand up that made did a project last year. So be good, be a nice little kickoff to this year's STEAM Fair. Hopefully it'll be, we can build on the success that we had last year.
What
Give
is
us-
the time?
Hmm?
What's the time?
What is the time?
Right after school?
What's the time?
Oh, the time of the,
It's during the school day? Okay.
It'd be good to give us some feedback, see how, if you get the lift that you think you're gonna get. I mean, obviously, last year was spectacular. Hopefully, you'll get a lot of people interested after they see what, how much fun it really was.
It's gonna be bigger already because 8th grade science teachers have made it part of the curriculum.
Okay,
So they're either working in small groups or individually, so there's 147 8th graders, even if they worked in groups of 3.
yeah,
Well,
well, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
and we're also talking about, possibly taking some of the finalists and
Bringing them to the next level.
Yeah, there's like, because there's like official science fair competitions that they have.
Oh, wow.
So we're like throughout, I don't know if it's state by state or New England or how it's broken up, but,
Yeah.
but, that's something that we're gonna think about doing too this year. Last year was kind of our first time, so we just wanted to make sure that, you know, we learned a lot last year and this year, but I think this might be the next step for the STEAM fair.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of those projects really were, you know,
Yeah.
they should have been seen further,
Yeah.
because they really were quite,
Yeah.
they were quite something, and very impressive. So, if there's nothing else, then a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everybody.